Yo, thank you for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Doing it to it. Today we talking about why Latinos owe on ADOS's reparations bag. So as we get into that, we're going to also look into another video that I'm going to do just to keep it on your mind about how they're going to be getting on code and how they've been getting on code as a group, these Latinos, in terms of economics and politics and social movements, so we can keep a beat on them. But first, facts. Latinos, they got annexed into a society that we built here in America. I think we all know that. Let's keep that clear for everybody. You Latinos out there, if you're listening, y'all got scooted up to a table that we already set. Let me put y'all flag up. This is what y'all flag look like to me. Latino Confederate flag, all right? Just in case y'all forget y'all's roots out here in America. Y'all act like this is not y'all's roots. But okay, we're going to jump on your head behind that shit. But y'all scooted up to a table that we already set. That's because, y'all had a chance to kind of get annexed into society pretty easily. Y'all were earlier here than almost any other group, the Asians or whatever. And y'all got a chance to participate in the enslavement process of black people and the culture around slavery and disenfranchising black people, rather. Slave catching and all of that shit in a way that no other group had a chance to get on it. Like as far as like the Asians, I threw them out there. I was gonna say the Indians, but nah, because they got in on it too. But y'all basically did what white society and the Indians had a chance to do at the time of our enslavement. So that's the base fact of this video. Most of black society is in a haze right now that Latinos, or they almost black, they got booties, they black, they cool, you can have sex with them, and all this other shit. And I'm just like, no. My goal is to clown all of that shit on my channel. Clown all of that stupid shit so we can keep a clear head around these people. So I'm finna expose a few things. Y'all know on my channel, I stay going in on them because, in Texas, the shit is bad. The Latin loving and shit. That shit is out of control amongst certain breeds of Negroes. You understand? Let me run to the Chizat. See who in the house. G-Man Jr. 64. What's good, mate? Matter of fact, let me do this to the chat real fast while I'm looking at a few screens. Okay, let me close up a couple screens while I'm not needing them. Make things kind of go smoother. There we go. That's what I want to do. What up, Nisha Lake? See you just jumped in the chat. Alright, so I think we good. And like I said, in Texas, you got just certain breeds of Negroes that giving Latinos all kind of passes on certain shit. It's a disease that needs to be eradicated. It needs to leave black society forever. And so with this, I know y'all will see that. But I want to first start out by saying, we often think that Latinos are a group that have only recently became a group of what can we do to get white society off our backs and onto black people type shit. That Chicano movement in the 60s, that kind of blurred niggas' vision, right? And the actuality is they're actually the fathers and mothers of that whole mentality in America, more so than any other group. Indians, Asians, you name it. They have a history of this. This is not new for them to be cut from a cloth of ingratiating themselves with white supremacist society to get favor and whatever else. Don't miss that. They are the original ass kissers of white supremacist society outside of the native Indians, since I brought them up. I'm going to break down how. Black society, we got to sit back and, as we are here, we got to sit back and take the heat that come with being black here. We don't got no help. We got to take the heat bare naked in this motherfucker. No help, right? But because of Latinos' history with slavery, that's my point I want to make. They have an in with white supremacist society. So I'll explain it in terms of our reparations bag this way, since this conversation is about what they owe on our bag. Slavery with Latinos, at the helm and Latinos pulling the strings on it, it was closely associated in America with Latino governors, mayors, military people, and people with means, you know what I'm saying? Just like white people. Just like white people during slavery, okay? A lot of people are blind about that. So when you're talking to your Latino buddy, find this type of stuff out, is what I'm getting at. Ask about their politicians in their family from way back. Because their people were in those positions that black people were not. Okay? Ask about military service. I'm going to get into that in a bit. Ask about their people, because they could be on some type of shit. And there could be some history there. You understand? And I'll give you an example. Latinos, we know they fought during the Civil War. And they try to downplay it and say, oh, only 3,500 Latinos fought during the Civil War. And for every one Union soldier, there's like 2.5 Confederate Latino soldiers or whatever. So basically saying it was 1,000 Union soldiers, 2,500 Confederate soldiers. But it's actually 10,000 soldiers total that fought. They want to act like it's 3,500, but it's actually 10,000 if you count Mexicans, where you saw Mexican governors, Latino governors, you saw that. And when you count the Tejanos together, so that's the Texas branded Latinos, right? And they try to lie and say Mexico was this race neutral entity in the war, but that's a lie. I'll get into that. But first of all, let's just pause and say Latinos owe reparations just off of that. All right, let's just say that first, okay? They fought majority for the Confederacy. So Latinos, if y'all out there listening, I accept cash only. I don't want no pesos. I don't want no whatever the fuck else you got. It's cash money order. That shit'll do. Cold cash. None of the pesetas. None of that bullshit. I'm saying keep it real. It's that. So they fought predominantly on the side of the Confederacy. So now the question becomes, why did Latinos fight for the Confederacy so hard in these large ass numbers? I thought this was I thought we had a brown-black coalition. I thought that was the world we in, right? I thought we was mi amigo out here, right? So I got to break that down. Back during that time, Latinos' roots were rooted in Spain. Let me get to Spain right fast. Spain's empire during that time. Okay? And Spain colonized a big ass chunk of America, as you can see. And Spain was fresh off of conquering the Moors. So, they had already got that black slave trade popping like in 1400. So by the time 1492 came around and they made presence here, they was already on that black, we don't like black people shit, right? And when they made it here in America and in South America too, just this map doesn't really show it, but South America, basically that whole west coast of South America, everything in South America except for Brazil, goddammit. Spain territory, anti-black territory, understand? So these places like Argentina, Peru, Chile, very anti-black cultures to this day. They had a damn ethnic cleansing out there in Argentina in the 1860s, late 1860s. You know what I mean? So the premise is that anti-black racism travels well when Spain is involved, when Spain is attached to the shit. And in America during the time of slavery here, it was no different. And the Latin groups that were here in America, on American soil, were predominantly from 4 groups. So just for history's sake, so you can know, they were predominantly from Spain, Cuba, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. Those were the 4 groups of Latinos you had in America at the time, all right? And these were all Spanish colonies, all these places, all under Spain, all right? So if y'all never heard of those 4 groups speak about it when you talking to these type of people, that's the reality. And Spain is anti-black, and the mentality that they seeded in the minds of their people in different colonies was anti-black. It traveled well from Spain to Cuba, from Spain to Mexico, Spain to Puerto Rico. You get what I'm saying? It didn't miss one beat. I just want y'all to soak on that fact. The Latinos' very foundation in America is anti-black, just like white people. Okay? That's what I was getting at in the Latinos' unspoken career as sellouts post that I did. I mean, just look at places where you saw these Spanish regiments pop up during the war, during the Civil War, and how Latinos are today in some of those places. Those places where they had all those Latino regiments, like Florida. Get to the chat. Places like Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Texas. Look how these places are today. Fucking anti-black like a motherfucker. They had them, they had these regiments like Louisiana Tigers in Louisiana. That's a Louisianian Confederate group. They were Latino Confederates. You had the European Brigade. They were also Latino Confederates, also in Louisiana. The Cazadores Españoles, the 2nd Infantry out in Florida. All right. Hold on, I think I got a picture of the Spanish, of the 2nd Infantry. Let me pull these fools up real quick. I think we got these cats here. There they go. That's the 2nd Infantry today. That's the white supremacists making a mural to the 2nd Infantry, the Latino Brigade out of Florida, right? Today. They still doing white supremacist reenactments of the loser-ass Latinos known as the 2nd Infantry today, by the way. And for those of you in love with Latinos, I'm going to keep bashing on y'all motherfuckers because y'all get on my nerves. For those of you in love with Latinos and y'all don't put up no kind of real appraisal to what they do, good or bad, ever, I'm going to tell you this. You know, I pointed out that military and politicians and, you know, kind of okay to do Latinos as slaveholders, right? And kind of warriors for keeping the Confederacy and traitors of the United States intact, right? Keeping black people enslaved. But also, you want to know that average everyday Latinos were on code with the white supremacist regime against us as well. Let me flip over to the chat real quick. Let me look see what people are saying. Yeah, those. Nisha LA says. Nisha LA says, yep, those taco beasts are on the hook. Right. G-Man Junior 64 says, Spain is all you have to say. Real life. Real life. That covers a lot of ground. So, I want to say that, again, that the average everyday Latino, for all of you Latin jocking blacks out there, all you brainwashed Negroes out there that still want to play that field and act like, oh, that your little consuelas somehow absolved of this shit. Check the pedigree, check the history, check the lineage. That's what I'm on. Like, because the common Latino, they were also on code with the white supremacist regime against us. That's a fact that gets glossed over in black society. Just another reason why they owe on our bag. But the commoner Latinos were also anti-black up until and during and after the Civil War. We'll get into after in my next video about it. And the way white supremacist society got them in check to be that way, these workaday white supremacist Latinos that they became, was that they did what they do today with Latinos. They threatened them with deportation. Understand? Let me put up my deportation photo. They threatened them with deportation, just like they do today. They was doing it back then, during slavery, during the Civil War period. All right? At all times, this shit was on call. So today when we hear about Latinos getting into a frenzy over being deported, that's an old set of weapons that white supremacist society has used against them time and time again whenever white society felt like it was being encroached upon by Latinos. Latinos were routinely threatened with deportation in the South if they didn't show some kind of allegiance or affinity toward the Confederate regime, the Confederate way of doing things, as far as regarding slaves, regarding propping up the slave economy, as far as maltreatment of black people. A lot of people ain't on to that fact. And, as Spain was losing its grip on the South and just in America in general, you can't really run an empire from across the water that hard, especially when, Spain, their agenda when they came here in the first place was to try to see what they could steal and take back. But that, expatriating and catching a ship every time you want to grab some gold and run, grab something and run, like that shit, you can't maintain that shit if you're not really touching down and building a fucking city, building a metropolis. You ain't really doing shit in terms of colonizing. And that was what Spain ran into. They came in, they was diseased, they diseased everybody off the land, right? They diseased everybody up, you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, so it was just you and your little faction. They couldn't really work the land, you understand? They diseased off all these native Indians and that type of shit, right? So they couldn't really work the land like the people that were native. They didn't really have time to learn shit from them because they diseased them off so bad. They really couldn't say, yo, Native American, how do we work this land? You know what I mean? So it was that kind of thing with them. But so imagine that kind of laxed hold that Spain had in America at that time. But you being a Latino there, they brought a few million on a couple of different journeys to America. But, if you're not really touching down, checking in with your people, keeping them on code, shit go fucked up. And that's what happened with Spain. So they pretty much left their people out here fucked up to the whims of white supremacist society. White supremacist society see them like, oh, what's up? Oh, y'all out here? Y'all just making it? Oh, y'all making it? Word? All right. Do what the fuck we say. We got these guns. Do what the fuck we say. And it was that kind of thing. They got deboed, basically. And like I said, a lot of people aren't on to the fact of, how that influence of Spain just got wiped out, and white supremacist society kind of said, hey, we here now, motherfucker, fuck y'all shit, all right? But, the reason why white supremacist society really touched down on this deportation thing and kind of laid the hammer down on this deportation thing with Latinos was goddamn. Motherfucker, the South in general already had tension with the North before the war. There was already, watching they back every 5 seconds for them. Like, when these motherfuckers gonna come through on some bullshit, try to pull some shit. I mean, gotta, watching they back like that. So, you don't want to have to be looking at a group of non-white people in America thinking that they gonna flip on you, right? It's the premise. So they were already worried, about that type of shit. They already had on their mind what the fuck these Negroes going to do. They was already scared of what black folk would have done or could have done at any point of the day, right? They didn't want us uprising and getting on their heads. Oh, what's up? The camera got a kind of a... Okay, I guess it's all good. I guess it'll manage itself. But, it was that. So the leftover group, after Spain, began losing its economic grip in America, which was almost immediately after Spain touched down, maybe about a good 200 years later, after they touched down, white supremacist society didn't want to worry about them, didn't want to have to worry about Latinos coding up or trying to establish a coup of sorts, if you call it that, against the Confederate slavery dependent ass regime, right? They wanted shit to flow smooth. And Latinos were a big population in the South, so white supremacist society had to find a way to vet the Latino population at large in the South. So we're talking the Spanish, the Mexicans, the Cubans, and the Puerto Ricans. And whoever else may have trickled over, I would assume. They had to vet them and make sure they were anti-black. You know what I mean? They had to make sure that they did not like black people as a means of heading off any additional pushbacks in society. So what white supremacist society did was they threatened them with deportation in the time leading up to and during the war. And that's how it was. If they weren't vowing allegiance to the Confederacy or whatever, they risked that. And the Latinos were biting. They were biting. They were biting. They were going for it. They were going for it. They went for it in droves. Okay? This is my point. Wasn't no Latinos trying to get deported. And they fell in line with white supremacist society. So not just the slave-owning population was on code with white supremacist interest out of the Latinos. Just your average everyday friendly neighborhood Latino was on code with white supremacist interests. So we got to keep breaking them down. We often wonder why Latinos have this, kind of hard on for trying to push for, being seen as white. And, they really try to push for looking and being perceived as white harder than almost any other group. Motherfuckers, they shave their beard off and, change their name, change that Latinized version of their name, saying that Pedro's become Peters. Motherfucking Maria's become Mary's real quick. And you can't tell them from your average white person on the street. You understand? So, we often wonder where that come from, that desire for them to play life like that. Is my point. And that's because of their history with ingratiating themselves with white supremacist society by and large and passing that down transgenerationally, that white supremacist rooted leaning towards black society, black people that's negative for so many damn generations. So, now this shit is on autopilot. They on toy soldier mode with this shit now. So that's what we're looking at. And as a result, back to where I started at, Latinos are pretty much a white ass-kissing group. Transgenerationally, this is what they've become. Black folk, we are the only non-white group in America that knows that kissing white ass ain't gonna lead to shit. But, these other groups are gonna keep trying it. They're gonna keep trying that shit for bread and water. Latinos, Asians, Indians, all these motherfuckers, right? And, ain't nothing we can do. We can't tell them that they wasting their time doing that shit. We can't tell them that this regime turns on their ass kissers. Nigerians, Ghanaians, Jamaicans, Haitians, whoever the fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, they might be looking at us crazy over this shit, but, fuck them. It's on them if they can't see the end of the road with that shit, right? But yeah, like I said, they got threatened with deportation. They didn't hold up under the pressure. So all you black people that's on that black-brown coalition shit, all you black-brown coalition niggas, all you it's cool to fuck Latinos and fuck with Latino females and males, Negroes. I'm sorry to disappoint you if you thought that they were supposed to stand up for this black-brown coalition you niggas believing in still in 2019. Motherfuckers still believe in that motherfucking black-brown coalition like motherfuckers believe in Santa or some shit. Even though it has proven itself to be a phony-ass dream. I need y'all motherfuckers to explain to me that shit. All of you motherfuckers that give Latinos those kind of passings. How did this group that's supposed to be such a long-term friend of black people that they trying to convince us that they've been, how did they follow the white supremacist mandate like that? I thought we was all people of color. So Latinos, no, they didn't stand up. Y'all didn't stand up, Latinos. Y'all sat down to pee, and we're going to call y'all ass out for that. I thought we was all people of color. You fronting ass motherfuckers. So understand that. Oh, so I see the chat going. Let me go over here real quick. Where's my other screen? Here we go. The Spaniards were making the natives call them poppy. All right, that's from the Black Cyber Network. The Spaniards were making the natives call them poppy. Aha, that's funny. Let's see what else we got. The woman Nisha Lay says they all KBs. The Black Cyber Network says Make America Great doesn't include South America. White so dumb, but really colonization never ended. Okay, that could be debatable. The Black Cyber Network. I mean, we know about many instances of eugenics programs they've been running all through South America, all that shit. So I mean, that's debatable. Uh, Nisha Lay says yes, they all try, but beasts will still sting them no matter how much they work in favor. How much they work, how much work they put in for white supremacy. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Right. Nisha Lay, no matter what they try to pull off, it's like, yeah, nah. You know what I mean? They constantly gonna get checked behind that shit. So that's the reality. Let me get back to the screen where I can see y'all. Yeah. All right, good. But Spain and all the Latino population that they influenced in America basically came pre-packed, y'all. They came pre-packed with instructions to stand against black people's freedom for hundreds of years. They didn't miss a cue. So when white society pressed them like, who you with? They down with enslaving black people, propping up our wealth lockout directly, okay? And don't let Latinos forget that type of shit. I mean, we weren't just running from white people enslaving us and white slave catchers. We were running from Latinos running the same damn show. All right, their history is just like white people, is the point I want y'all to get from this video if y'all don't get nothing else. They had the guy, Colonel Santos Benavides, here in Laredo, Texas. He actually became one of the highest ranking Latino officers in the Confederate Army. They put his face up here. This dude, Benavides, he was a fucking slave catcher and a fucking colonel. I see a few other faces in the chat. I'm gonna get it, y'all. You know what I mean? A colonel in the fucking Confederate Army. And his origins, just like I said, he came from a government family. Government family, his father was the guy that founded the city of Laredo, Texas. So they got all these schools named by this guy, family, and all of this shit. There's all kind of shit going on out here with this guy's name. They love this guy out here in Texas. You know what I mean? But his pops basically founded a fucking city. And then he himself became a mayor. He became a judge. All these positions I told you that leaned into slave owning. Then he became the biggest Tejano officer. They call him a Tejano. It's like a Texan. He became the biggest Tejano officer in the Confederate Army. The number one dude. The top motherfucker, right? And, he would actually go into Mexico and do slave catching. He was a slave catcher for the Confederate Army. He would actually go into Mexico, snatch up our ancestors who was runaways, and return them to their former slave masters. I mean, he was on some gutter ass shit. Throughout America, he would return them to wherever. If they ran into Mexico, he would go get them. Or if they ran into anywhere where he could get them, he would go get them and bring them back. All of that. And what made it crazy, he was actually born in a city called Coahuila, Mexico. Coahuila is the place where the slaves ran to. You understand? He was born in a state or a place or part of Mexico where the slaves ran to. And I guess they didn't know that his slave catching ass was coming down to where his hometown was to bring them back into slavery. You I mean, so that's fucked up. That's like somebody trying to hide from you in your hood. Like, like they ain't know where they can go. Oh, you gonna try to hide from me in my hood? All right. Well, I'll just grab you here. I'll grab you here. I'll grab you if you run there. I'll grab you if you hide there. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. So it was that nasty. There was this group of people called the Muskogos. They were a group of black people who, when they were in the States or in America, they tried to blend in with the Seminoles. Let me see if I can get their visage up here. They tried to blend in with the Seminoles, right? You had a lot of black groups that, when they would escape slavery, they tried to hide with the Seminoles. Then, of course, we know the Seminoles turned out flipping on motherfuckers, right? We know that. Started enslaving black people themselves. They were one of the 5 who owned slaves. No, probably about 6. 6 tribes who owned slaves, right? And that group that tried to escape from the Seminoles and run into Mexico, it was called the Muskogones. Is that the word? I'm saying it right? Muskogos, right? And they settled in Coahuila. They're still in Coahuila today. All right, but he was snatching motherfuckers, right? This Benavides. But yeah, I'm just want to let y'all know. This is how one of the people from the Muskogos look today. This is how they look today. They look like somebody grandmama. This look like somebody Uncle Terry and shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't just look like somebody auntie and shit right here. This is today, right? The ones that was able to escape and stay free and not get caught by this guy. I mean, so our people was on the run from these motherfuckers, from this Latino. But understand, this dude, Benavides, he was his own slave economy. Because, when you bring slaves back, you get chipped off. If you are a slave catcher, you get chipped off with every slave you bring back. So motherfucker, it's not like you just going out, you getting one slave and shit. I mean, this guy was revered in Confederate history as the dude that he wasn't just bringing in one person. He was bringing in, there was a whole army of motherfuckers going out to get motherfuckers, all right? So you're a slave, you got an army after your ass, right? So understand that. This is what happened. This dude was his own goddamn economy. And him and his brothers, they were called the Benavides brothers. Look it up. I think I got a picture of them all here. There you go. Benavides brothers. Look them all up. All of them. Except for that guy on the far, where is it from? Far left. That guy on the far right, he's a white guy. But you see how they all chummy. The 3 Benavides brothers. And they chummy with the white dude, Confederate motherfuckers, man. They running that whole show, right? So know that. So, see, white supremacist society will try to downplay these facts and say, some U.S. slave owners hired slave catchers. Nah, motherfucker, you had whole armies, right? I mean, I'm looking at it like, motherfucker, there's a whole army of motherfuckers you sending out to motherfuckers, right? And you even got Latino scholars talking about Mexico was this big raceless place and was just full of Latinos that weren't hostile toward black people, which is a fucking lie, as I said. They try to say that, Mexico it didn't look at race back in the 1820s and shit like that. That was because slavery supposedly ended there in the 1820s, so it wasn't a big fuss about black people. But by the 1840s, they sure knew well how to allow Benavides and all his motherfuckers to kidnap black people back into slavery with no legal protections for them, didn't they? They sure knew how to do that shit, right? Sick of that shit. And other examples, they had that guy, Colonel Ambrosio Gonzalez. He's from Cuba. Want to focus on these other groups that we talk about. Motherfucker from Cuba. Let me get his face in the way. Let me put his face in the way of the action. Here that dude go. Right? He's a Cuban motherfucker. When he touched down in America, Goddamn, he touched down, he married a white chick, and he started selling weapons to the Confederacy. He came here knowing to get on code with white supremacy. This is what I'm telling you. Like, when Latinos touched down in America, no matter where they came from, they knew white supremacist society was the thing. Get down with it. Fuck black people. Black people treat them bad, okay? I just want y'all to soak on it. This was the everyday culture of Latinos in America during this time, is my point. Even when they came from other places. You know what I mean? They touched down and they knew what was up. That's why they owe on our bag. Their culture, by and large, was to prop up slavery in America, period. Prop up black wealth lockout, period. Be complicit with and loyal to anti-black mandates. Okay? Who else? We got other motherfuckers. It don't stop. They dirt just keep going. They keep doing dirt. They had this one chick, Lola Sanchez. She was a fucking spy for the Confederacy. Matter of fact, let me run to the chat before I dig into her situation, just to give y'all more advantage on it. I don't want y'all to be bereft of facts. Let me go here. G-Man Junior 64 say they can hold their own nuts. LMBAO. Real life. G-Man Junior 64 also say, I'm a gamer and I came across a bunch of them I thought were black online. After I found out they were Hispanics, the racist bullshit started. Yeah. You can imagine that. 30% Hispanics voted for Trump. Uh-huh. The Black Cyber Network says 30% of Hispanics voted for Trump. We shouldn't be fighting their border battle. Real life. Let them have that shit. Let them have that shit. I'm on Team Mitch McConnell on that shit. He was a... just talking about him yesterday and shit. You know, Mitch McConnell, he's big on that wall. Yo, get that wall made. Motherfucker. You on that bullshit. We ain't playing. Make the lane clear for us. This is the one I wanted to look at. I live in Jersey. I don't see who you are, but I see the underscore. There's somebody in my chat named underscore, y'all. And he or she says, I live in Jersey and the Latinos out here are straight racist, but they stay jacking black people's style. Yeah. That happens. They on that shit. I want all black politics whenever they get on TV. There's always change happening black people. Yeah. Black Cyber Network. I'm just reading a couple comments. You know, I like to check in, see what's up. But yeah, this Lola Sanchez that I wanted to get on. She was a Floridian from Florida. And she was a spy for the Confederacy during the Civil War. She was one of 3 sisters, actually, who became spies for the Confederacy. So their whole family was in the spy game, in the same family. Right? I think the other 2 sisters' names was, I know there's one that's Panchita, the other one was Eugenia, some shit. But her story was, you know, her father was falsely accused of being a Confederate spy in the Confederate Army by the Union Army, quote unquote, falsely accused by the north side of the white supremacist armies at the time. So they locked his ass up, right? And she got mad and she became a spy. They try to say her father was falsely accused of being a spy, but I'm like, motherfucker, how's it falsely accused and eventually all your daughters ended up working as spies for the Confederacy, right? That don't seem like a coincidence to me. His son was also in the Confederate Army, right? So everything is coming up Confederate for his family, right? But okay. All right. So Lola Sanchez, she became upset about her old man getting thrown in jail. She joined the family business of being a Confederate ass spy who wanted to basically fuck up black people's life. She wanted to see that black people work for free until death type shit. This shit ran in the family for these Sanchez's to be against black interests, is my point. So, and all these Sanchez sisters, I believe they all had Latino generals, Confederate generals as husbands, right? I think all except one, I believe, had Latino Confederate generals as husbands. They married Confederate, popped out kids that was Confederate. This all speaks to a bigger picture, is what I want to land it at. That the Latino community, I just want y'all to understand, no matter how friendly they try to portray themselves as being toward us, because it's kind of hard to see in today's day, you know, like, no matter how much Frankie Beverly and Maze they listen to, no matter how many offsets they try to go out and Cardi B as they come through dripping, these motherfuckers come from a legacy. Hear my words. They come from a legacy of having zero feeling toward black people. No feelings. For all you that want to feel something for these motherfuckers, right? I'm just saying. They thought about all the money they could make in oppressing us and all of that shit, and that was more important. And all about the kitty gloves they could get handled with by white society by way of marginalizing and slave catching us and slave owning everything by virtue of all of that shit, right? Period. That was their thing. And because it's something we haven't been trained to check Latinos on, I'm putting it to niggas now. Like, check your Latino friends and people you fuck with like that, right? See if their family leads to them owning slaves or being collaborators against black people and black society's interests. This is very important, you know, because it's just fucked up how the self-esteem of black society has reached a low in certain pockets of our community that we really don't appraise these other groups for what they really about. You understand? And what they come in the name of. We just looking for a friend any old place. We hear motherfucking, what's the bitch? Ariana Grande get on a song with 2 Chainz and we like, hey, they all cool. They all cool all of a sudden. Like, yeah, all right. Hold up, I know Check doing the thing. Hey, Just Glowing, I made you a mod. I didn't even know that shit. Yo, what's I forgot all about that. Yo, everybody say what's up to Just Glowing. I ain't seen her in a bit. Good to see you checking in, Miss Lady. Good to see you. You know what I mean? So, that's my point. You really see what's up when you tap these people for that certain kind of information. So, we got to stay wise to them in that way. They owe on our bag as a whole damn group. You understand? Look at their culture. Their culture owes us, right? That's what I want y'all to put together. So, Latinos, they were 10 toes down as a part of this slave system in their communities with oppressing black society, instigating black wealth lockout, propping up the machine. All right? That's as simple as I can make it. So let's move on to right after the war and to what kind of tangibles the Latinos kind of pilfered off our struggle. Can't get enough of that shit. They always want to pilfer off of what the fuck we done. All right? After the Civil War, we saw that Latinos were, you know, they entered this era of the fruit pickers and the migrant workers and that type of shit, right? They were in their fruit picking migrant worker years. And Latinos benefited from what? The Civil Rights Act of 1866, right after the fucking war. That's something that our black blood catalyzed and caused. And it was actually meant for black people to address real shit that we was going through. So first of all, I want to say Latinos. Let me pause and say, look, Latinos, y'all owe on our bag. Even though y'all enslaved us, y'all got the benefits of that Civil Rights Act. So y'all owe on our motherfucking bag. I don't want no oranges. I don't want no fruit you done picked. I don't want no aloe vera. I don't want no bimbo bread. I want my shit cash, whole, as big as the bills as you can find. You know what I'm saying? Straight real. You know what I mean? That bag. You owe for that. But this was basically an act that said, you know, it's a federal law that gave citizens equal protection under the law to do, basically do shit that white people do, like sue in court, fucking inherit property, sell property, that type of shit, right? So basically, so people could have certain civil rights, and Latinos benefited by proxy with that. All right, so bam, they need to run that bag. I know that. Don't let a Latino nowhere. Don't let them act like their existence was what catalyzed that type of shit. Motherfucker, it was us that made that shit happen on America's books. All right? They fronting and lying if they say it ain't us. And one thing you'll notice about that particular legislation, white supremacist society didn't do shit to infringe on the Latinos' capacity to enjoy all the fruits of that law. All right? We've kind of talked about this before, that, you know, we got white mob justice and KKK and Jim Crow strip black people of certain laws and strip black people from owning property, right? Strip black people from getting homesteads and mineral property, shit like that. Anti-black racist hand targeted towards us. We got that type of shit, not them. All right? So they've been a collaborator with white supremacist society and a soft-handed ass group for a long, long time in America. They didn't get caught up in the peonage era, right? They didn't get caught up in the sharecropping era, the convict leasing era in the early 1900s. Latinos didn't get caught up in that whole slavery as punishment for a crime shit. Y'all remember? That aspect of the 13th Amendment. They didn't get caught up in none of that shit. You ever think about that? All right? So that's something to look at. Convict leasing and peonage, all that shit was rooted in black slavery. Black slavery that Latinos did. Slavery that they did to us, okay? In my next video, I'm going to explain to you why Latinos got skipped over by white supremacist society in this way, and what white supremacist society was grooming them for during this time. So I don't want y'all to miss that. It's going to be the focus of my next video. All right? See the chat jumping. Let me get over here and see what's up. Say, I'll fuck around and take some calls, y'all. What's up? If I had to ask a question, what question would I ask? Look, where y'all at? How would y'all approach a Latino letting them know y'all owe on this bag? You know what I mean? How would y'all approach their ass? You know what I mean? In y'all's different little cities, y'all different little places. Y'all know everywhere around us we see this culture of Latin lovers within the black community. Like I said, it's something that we cannot have. We cannot have them like that. We can't be fucking with them like that. We don't have that luxury to love everybody. I keep saying that. So how would y'all, in y'all's own words, you know what I'm saying? If y'all want to call in, I'll let y'all call in. Hold on, let me make this change right fast on my number right quick so y'all can catch me if y'all feel. If y'all feel y'all want to catch your boy, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? How would y'all tell these motherfuckers to kick rocks, kiss ass, drop that bag, fuck out my face? You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to call in, you know what I'm saying, let me know something. Let me know something. I'll give y'all a couple seconds. If not, it's all good. While y'all deciding, let me run to the chat real quick. I've been missing what y'all been talking about. I like to give people in the chat a shout out because what the fuck, you know what I mean? What the fuck, you know what I mean? Y'all keying shit in and y'all want to be shouted out in ways. Let's see what we talking about. Just going to say pilfering. Love that word. Yeah, it's pilfering. It's another word for snatching, stealing, taking, confiscating. That's how they do. Just Glowing says they claim white anyway for the most part. Yeah, I went in on a Latino on some YouTube video yesterday. Like, you know, you want to try to act like Latinos aren't white, but y'all are the only group that have the delineation of non-white Hispanic. You're the only group that Y'all the only group that gets that separation made by white society, non-white Hispanic. Y'all the only ones that get that on certain forms and applications and shit like that. So y'all already know y'all have the option to play one side of the field or the other. White supremacist society knows that they give you the option to play one side of the field or the other. It's real shit. Like, they can't be riding our coattails for reparations. Fuck that. That's from G-Man Junior 64. And I feel you on that, bro. Hell no, they can't be riding our coattails for shit. You know they're going to try to say DACA need reparations. They kicking that shit. And I'm like, fuck a DACA. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to hear shit from them. DACA ain't losing money. They ain't lost hundreds of years worth of money from their pockets. I don't want to hear shit. There's no monetary equivalent to what DACA went through. You understand? Let's see who else in the chat. Who was... Richard D say, what's up, brother? Yo, what up, Richard D? It's good, man. Alright, why did I go to the bottom of the chat? Nisha LA say, tell them they're doing bestiality with lice-infested beasts. Oh my God. Oh, yep. See, y'all can call in and say this. Oh, Rich D want to know what's the number? Rich D, the number is 1-800-365-3175. You want to call me in, bro? It's all good. Catch me, bro. It's all what it is. Future 5001 say, I grew up in PA and every black male I grew up with married a Puerto Rican woman if they got married. Ouch. Damn it. That shit crazy. Every black male you grew up with, bro, that shit fucked up, man. That's some old brainwashed ass shit, man. But that's the point of me doing this kind of video and doing the videos that I do, begging on Latinos, because it's a void in new black media. Motherfuckers really don't just single them out and just say, look, motherfucker, this is what you got going on. Your shit ain't right. So I figure the more that this type of message proliferates, the more maybe other black media people will jump on it and, you know what I mean, make it a point of occasion to dial in on, right? That's right. Just glowing. The number 1-800-365-3175. Yes, indeedy. So yeah, matter of fact, let me check my setup here, make sure we good. Oh, how about that? Okay, here we go. I think that's what did it. I think I got it done right. Running a different 800 platform than my old 800 platform. This is a little more easier to manage, in my opinion. So I fucks with it. Puerto Rican or a white woman. Future 5001 say Puerto Rican or a white woman, I guess is what them brothers out there in PA jumping on. Like, all right. I ain't got nothing to say, man. You know, I run into brothers like that out here in Texas, man. Out here in this part of Texas where I'm at, North Texas, like, you know what I mean? In between Dallas and Fort Worth. Hold up, somebody calling right now. Oh, somebody left a voicemail. So why didn't I why didn't I hear it? Okay. Not the ringtone. That ringtone loud as fuck. That shit is like listening to a goddamn symphony, boy. Told y'all I was gonna get the new one. So I'm gonna get that. Well, it ain't the newest, it's that S9. Told y'all I was gonna get a new one. I mean, it's a beast right here. Nisha LA say coons erase themselves with all happiness. Yeah. I was saying, you know, there's brothers out here, you know what I mean, that I run into and they'll be kicking that Latin lover shit. And they'll be like, say, P, look, what about that one? What about that one? What about her? And I'm like, what about her? What about her? I'm black, so I only fuck with black people. I only fuck with humans, 100% humans. I already know the scientific behind every other group of people, so I'm not playing that. Nah. So it's like that. It's like, that's as far as just if I didn't know shit else that I knew about these people as far as their actual, culture that they come in the name of. If I didn't know all the snake shit they was about, right? I would still, man, fuck y'all, man. I'm saying fuck y'all, man. I don't care about y'all. I don't know what it is, man. I didn't grow up around Latinos. I didn't grow up around Latinos. I didn't grow up around Indians. I didn't grow up around white people. So people who jump at them, it's like, all right, it's got to be some shit where it's like I don't know. It's some fetishization shit. It can't be no real shit in there. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. That's how I say it. I don't know if anybody's trying to get in on the line. Let me see. I press the unlock. I keep unlocking my shit so anybody can get in, but I don't know. My setup, do not disturb when able. Incoming calls will not ring. Yeah, I got the do not disturb set right. I got my day. It's set right. All right, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna keep y'all. I just wanted to drop this today for y'all, you know what I mean? So we could get a running start on this conversation. Definitely on the current events that I drop. If I got the time to drop a current event tomorrow, which I want to do, if I got time to drop it tomorrow, we're going to have the phones buzzing throughout the whole time, you know what I mean? And we'll just take calls throughout as I drop my this and that's about it. So that's that. Can't get through with calls saying your voicemail and I said, yo, I just got this phone, man. Like literally, I was having a meeting, man. I was in the middle of a meeting with somebody else on my other phone last Friday. Last Friday, I was having a meeting on the phone, and it came while I was in the middle of the meeting. Like somebody knocked on my door and dropped this bitch off. So I haven't even went through all that setup. I haven't even went through all that shit. So I don't know. But I know on this phone, like I can pull up the app. Let me get to that. I can pull up the app for my 800, and I can see like the voicemail. If you leave a voicemail, I can actually like play it and all of that shit. Let me see, man. Learning this technology, man. I'm trying to, coming to the new age. All the people that I know that found out about me having the S9, they hating already. It's always the hate. Nah, that ain't nothing. You need to get your iPhone. I'm like, look, I got an S. Nah, homie, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? They got an S10, but it's basically like the same. Ain't really no different. Let me get to here we go. Let me see what's up with the app and why the calls ain't coming out. So I'm getting a voicemail. So I answered the call from, it says I answered the call from your area code. I ain't finna give you a number out here, Richard D, but it says that I answered the call. So maybe just you dialed and I work for Apple, says the Black Cyber Network. Maybe it's just you dialed and it didn't pick up. Don't worry about it, Richard D. Catch me tomorrow, bro, if you can, man. I'm not finna keep y'all, man. I'm not going. I'll run through the setup and see if there's something I'm missing, but I don't believe there's nothing I'm missing. I believe I'm on tap for this shit. I believe shit is in line. This shit is aligned properly, bro. Change greeting, reset the default. Yeah, I think I'm good, bro. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. So y'all all know when I'm dropping. Don't forget to check out my Teespring. That shit is the bomb. Diggity, the bomb, diggity. Thank you, Just Glowing. And I'm going to get at y'all.